Oh, damn, this shirt is. Kaibida. Ndewo. Ndewo. Phoenix Indigo already in the house. Ndewo nu. Ndewo. Umweligwe. Ndibo kwenu. My name is Derek Ofadarungwa. As you guys probably already know, I'm pretty sure they only recommend this to like people that already subscribe to the Medicine Shell. Of course, I teach Igbo spirituality, culture and cosmology, history as well. So this is another one of them. Ask me anything. We're gonna wait till we get. How many people should be in the live before we start? Right now we are at one. I need a number. How many people need to be in the live before we start? I'm gonna. Damn, we're already at 7. Okay, so I'm gonna be ambitious today. We're gonna say 15. Nigerians, ndewo. Kedu nwanne, kedu. I got questions. I know you do. Yeah. I know you do. Do 20. Damn, she said do 20. All right, we're gonna start once we get 20 people in here. We're already at 12. Damn, I don't know what's going on today. You know, the change of seasons is really affecting me. Or something. I don't know. I'm just not feeling I'm not in my regular self. So I was this close to not going live, and I said, let me do it. And anytime I have these conversations with you guys, I feel a lot better. So I don't know if is anybody else feeling weird. Nah, I don't know if weird is the word. Down, not yourself. I think the change of seasons is really getting me. Damn, everybody is in the house already. There, whoa. One one mother. Kedu one. We're at 14. Once we get to 20, the number given, the very ambitious number of 20. Once we hit 20 people in here, we're going to go ahead and begin waiting for that extra hour. I don't know what you mean by that. Yo, once we get 20 people in here, that means that if you're here and if you know anybody who would be interested in what I talk about, of course, I talk about Igbo spirituality, ancestral spirituality, cosmology, and our history. And then sometimes you guys throw random current affair things in there, and I'm forced to talk about it too. So if you know anybody that would be interested in these topics, go ahead and click the little link and share it with whoever you share it. Post it in the WhatsApp group, post it on the Facebook group, post it on the group chat, post it on Instagram, post it on TikTok. Let's get every 20 people already. He said, and that was quick. I don't know, but let's go. All right, so as a break cola. Now I ran out of cola, so we're going to just use Ubi. We got 21. He said, way to make it happen. Way to make it happen. They won to everybody. Here's okay. I look. I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm not trying to be that guy. But why do we got 20 people in here and only 9 people have hit like? Right? Why do we got 20 people in here? Only 9. Did 11 people come in here and say, okay, I dislike this guy? I dislike this. I dislike what he's about to talk about. So let me not hit the like button. Okay, we got 10. Okay, so 10 people came in here and said, I dislike what's he? I don't like this guy. What's he smart? All right. Now we got 9 people. What I did to you. Huh? Tell me what it is I did to offend you, right? And if I haven't offended, if I'm not, just go ahead and click the button, right? Just go ahead and hit that like button. Let's go. Okay, we are at E12. You know, I don't know if anybody else does this, but like, I hesitate to say the numbers 11 and 12 because I get them mixed up sometimes. It could just be me. We're at 14, 13. Once we hit that 14, 14, we'll be good. So there's one person in here. You know exactly who you are. You know exactly who you are. Yeah, the number one up, I'll just hit it. I go at 14. Though that one person that was holding their like button, you know exactly who you are. Go ahead and hit that like. Somebody took their like away. Jay! All right, let me go ahead and begin. Press the 3 dots in the corner. You can like from there. You say, oh, have I hit like? I can't even hit like. Somebody just said, let me just take this back. Ibara wicked. Ibara wicked. All right, Cambido, let me begin. That means let me begin. All right. I'm going. What I'm going to be doing is greeting our ancestors, greeting everything that takes to create us, the creator, the universe, all of the elements that we refer to as the Abara. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll begin. Okay. All right. Okike keruwa. Ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ. Igwe bụ ụmụ gị bịara taa ikwu okwu na-enye ndụ. Anyị ji okwu anyị na-ekele ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ, ndị mụ aja ana na ụmụ kpakpando eluigwe. Ọwa obiọma ka anyị ji na-ekele gị. Ọwa aka ọcha ka anyị ji ekele gị. Ọ bụ obi ọcha ka anyị ji ekele gị. Maka na anyị bụ otu mmadụ, otu mmụọ, otu obi, otu uche, otu ije, otu ike. Ọ bụ obi ndị ọkpụ na ndị iche ka anyị ji aga, ka anyị ji ekwu, ka anyị ji ama onwe anyị. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị na eke, n'orie, na afọ, na nkwọ, ise. All right, somebody said I was breaking up. He said. I'm going to try to do something. Speaking random current affairs. What's your opinion on the Israel-Palestine? Oh, man. What's my opinion on Israel-Palestine? As an African, it's very difficult to have an opinion on it because we have a perspective on this that people in the U.S. might not. As somebody who is, I have this brain problem where I've been paying attention to politics since I was like 9, 10 years old. So none of this is new, right? I hope that I'm glad that a lot of people are coming into awareness of what's going on. I hope that once there's clearly somebody who pushes the button of what everybody's going to be interested in. Opinion on this. It's like the two biggest assholes, fighting each other. It's unfortunate people are dying. But man, you ask yourself, it's tough as an African to have an opinion on this. And you'll hear a lot of Africans say the same thing. But what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Colonialism is wrong. Imperialism is wrong. Taking what doesn't belong to you is wrong. So my higher self understands that what's wrong is wrong. My regular African self is kind of like, right? Because, if you know what's going on in Mauritania, if you know what's going on in Sudan, if you know what's going on in a lot of these places, if you know what's going on in Gaza with people transferring over and then them cutting their stomach open, taking their organ out, Africans, and how much and in Egypt and all these places, yeah, it's very difficult to have an opinion, but what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. So even if, because I hear a lot of people saying this, that are Africans, like, oh, like, what are y'all talking about? They're both, that kind of thing. And it's true. But, you can't, a bad thing can't happen to somebody who you think is guilty of also doing bad things. A bad thing is a bad thing. So objectively, yeah, it's, my opinion's pretty, it's free the land, free the land. Hold on, okay, cool. More is ego more meditation. Ego more is not meditation. Ego more is trance. It's a difference. Ego more is the release of the self. Meditation is more of an elevation of self. Ego chi is the only term I've used for or I've heard before for meditation and things that fall into the category of like meditation, prayer, all that stuff. But there's like, for example, now, if you want to think about the difference between Ego Chi and Ego Mo, difference between meditation and sleeping, right? Ego Mo is closer to sleeping. Ego Chi is closer to meditation. With meditation, you are coming into awareness. With Ego Mo, you're releasing awareness, and that kind of thing, or you're letting go of you're letting go of the self or awareness and that kind of thing, and taking in a new awareness. So it's not the same as meditation. I've seen very serious similarity between Jesus of the Greek Bible and Amadioha. Yeah. Could Emmanuel of the Jews be the incarnation of Amadioha? Um, I can't say who's an incarnation or not, but if you look at the Bible on an esoteric level, which is the level it was written, what is being communicated by the idea of Jesus is also what's being communicated with the idea of Amadioha. There's a lot of parallels there. Um, it's the same general idea. It's the same general idea. Also, if you are like anyways, let me leave that on my area. But yeah, no, I know I see the parallels that you're seeing, and it's similar. But then there's also a chance that, or let me leave that alone. I understand the similarities. I understand the similarities. So yeah, they're communicating a similar idea. The live is breaking up. The feds are listening. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We gotta watch out for them feds, man. Go Israel. No. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. So it gotta make sense. What's the Igbo worldview on you guys ask me about this homosexuality thing every day. I'm not doing it. So just go to the old lives. This is enough. Jesus. That's what you call it? I see. Okay, is that it? Speak on. No offense. Chukwemeka, no offense, but I get asked that every other live or every live, and it's like I don't. Speaking of okay, where you did that, that's the three dots. Is this all the questions you guys got? All right, so why do you think African spirituality doesn't have a missionary component like it? Perfect, good question. Abrahamic faiths. Why do you think that? Okay, very good. So one of the things that makes it harder to understand something outside of the Abrahamic worldview is the fact that Islam and Christianity are specifically geared for spreading. That's what they're geared for. They're designed spread. The objective is spreading. And so, because they have spread so far and so wide, it's hard to understand anything other than that. Whereas on the flip side, the majority of world cosmologies, spiritualities, and let's call them religions are not geared for spreading, right? There's no there you're not it's not geared for spread. That's not the objective. Now, there are layers to the answer, right? There are layers to the answer, and I don't know how deep you guys want me to go as far as the layers to that answer. Um, but I'll say this: our ancestors understand that the world has two polarities. There's a masculine and a feminine polarity. It, Abrahamic religions also understand that, but all of in the Abrahamic religions, everything in the feminine polarity is evil. It's bad. So you're not supposed to do that. It is strictly of the masculine, right? And an element of that masculine persuasion is a light like nature, light, right? Spreading, that kind of thing, moving, sky, that kind of thing, right? That's why in the Abrahamic faith, light is good, sky is good, the color white is good. What else? There's a whole bunch of different things that are specifically good, that are good, or they emphasize those. All the things that are bad, your physical body, spirit good, physical body bad, physical earth is bad, life. Being alive is bad. Just all the things that they can. If you write a list of what falls under feminine, what falls under masculine, as far as you both spirituality, and so usually in worldviews that balance the two more, the desire to spread isn't there, right? The desire to spread isn't there. There's really no point. There's also the fact that there's a lot of power behind what I'm talking about, right? This is a sincerely powerful thing. It gets things done. It's objective. It has actual real world use. And so if I come to you and I say, hey, I have this thing that actually does this thing, and you don't believe me, I don't really, what's my incentive of trying to persuade you, right? If I tell somebody this is my credit card number and they don't believe me, I have no reason to try to keep persuading them, right? It's like, all right, fine, that kind of thing. So that question is more of a group study for the Patreon question. It's very heavy and there's layers to it, but I'll say that Islam and and Christianity have this nature to spread. They're not attached to land. They have this nature to spread, and because they're designed to spread, and because of that, most people have a hard time understanding things outside of that. But most other things aren't like spreading is not an objective, right? You'll notice like in Judaism, there's no real, I mean, maybe some newfangled kind of thing that's trying to copy Christianity, but in its core, like Hasids are trying to get you to become a Hasid, right? I, as an Igbo person, it wouldn't make sense for me to try to persuade you to be an Igbo person, right? So when we talk about Igbo spirituality, it's really just being an Igbo person. So I can't, it doesn't make sense for me to go around persuading people to become Igbo people. That's, what does that do for me? What do I mean? There's no point, right? You are who you are. I am who I am. We can talk about our different views, and I can say something that's persuasive and you can say something that's persuasive to me, but there's no inbuilt thing where it's better for you to be like me than that kind of thing. A lot of the worldviews that have a balance between the masculine and feminine nature, when there's more of the feminine nature in there, there's kind of an acceptance of things like, okay, that is the way it is because that's how it is. This is the way it is because this is the way it is. There's no like everything is going to be the same. And I'm not saying one's better than the other, by the way. I don't want to do that. But yeah. Right. Okay. Back again with the question on your views on spirituality and love. Cool. Platonic. Oh, thank you. Good question. Platonic, romantic, communal. Does spirituality influence your love ethic? And oh, absolutely. 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 Yeah. I think anybody can benefit from knowing the different types of love, especially if you're going to partake in the love, like I don't even know how to put this, but if you're going to make commitments that involve love and so forth, to understand the different types of love. I will say that the emphasis on romantic love is a very like Anglo-Western thing. It's a very Anglo-Western thing. I think it's deliberate. I think it's deliberate. It's the there it's deliberate. But yeah, the different types of love. My view on spirituality, my own spirituality, due to the nature of my culture, my spirituality, there's duty in my love. Duty is a bigger element of my love than like most of the people. Duty is a big part of it. Uh, Duty to the people I love and so forth, and their duty to me as well. But that's really the only difference. I'm trying to think of anything else, like any other insights on love. I mean, there's a big topic. Any other insights on love? I was very surprised to find that Amadioha is the Abara that's associated with love, right? Because the image you get of Amadioha is like an angry guy, thunderbolt, strong, muscle guy. And then you come to find that that's the one that will is the will of the creator. And the will of, if you follow the Odachi Nebere accounts of the universe, where the universe is a woman who has been shattered, and her husband is the creator, who I'm referring to as the creator, Chukwu, is her husband. And so that will towards Chukwu's will towards the universe is love, right? And so I was like, okay, that's why Amadioha would be the Abara of love, right? So Amadioha has a love for the earth. The Amadi, right? So if somebody is, for example, if Amadioha emerges among a group of people, that person is going to be a leader. And that person is going to exist to actualize the will of the people, to actualize the will of the people. Earlier, somebody said something like, the oh, I think there's a connection in Jesus, Amadioha. Maybe I understand why that connection is being made, right? But the Amadioha that emerges among people does the will of the people, right? It's just like Amadioha is the representation of Chukwu's will, and Amadioha that emerges amongst a group of people is a person that emerges to do the people's will, and that person is driven by a love of said people, right? It's the love of the people that connects them to the people, and the desire to do that will The same way that Amadioha's connection to the earth is love, the same way that Chukwu's connection to the universe is love, and so forth. A husband's connection to his wife is love. It's the same thing on different levels. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about love and my understanding of it and so forth. But in all those levels, there's duty, right? Duty is a major aspect of it. Um, and yeah, I think we all understand that anyway. We're all adults, right? Yeah, so all them. That was a really good question, by the way. I hope that my answer made sense. Do Igbos view themselves as related to other ethnic groups in Nigeria or as a distinct ethnic group? It's a mix. Some people think we're completely unique. Most people believe we're related to our immediate neighbors, and that's logical and makes perfect sense. More so related to the people on the eastern side of the Niger River than the western side of the Niger River. Um, in people's thought, like that's the way people see it. So if you know Nigerian geography, we're gonna see ourselves as more related to other people in that Biafra area, Akwa Ibom, Cross Rivers, all that stuff, even into Cameroon. Um, than somebody on the other side of the river. But I have an understanding that we're almost fairly equally related to other ones. Just it's just whoever's closer, we're more related, just like normal geography stuff. But yeah, most Igbo people believe that our neighbors were related to our neighbors, but then you get some that think we're just completely different thing. So most religions cosmologies tend to be ethnic specific. Oh, such here we go, good one. Most cosmologies, religions tend to be ethnic specific and attached to land and environment. Perfect, exactly, exactly. So, what Islam and Christianity are is saying we're going to take away that element. It's not ethnic anymore. I mean, it is, wink, wink, right? It's still in Arabic, right? But we're going to take that out and it's going to just go everywhere. Everybody just got to be in this thing. Everybody's going to be in this thing, right? We're not going to emphasize the ethnic aspect. We're just everybody can join the club type of thing. But what we're now calling religions are just different people's um, are is like a part of different people's cosmologies. Religion is a part of different people's cosmologies, and different groups of people have different things that they say. I find it fascinating that in the end, everybody ends up saying the same thing, right? But yeah, religion is a very specific tool that uses cosmological principles to do a specific thing, right? And when I say religion, I mean like Islam, Christianity. That's why it's so hard to explain to people who are like maybe like grew up in the West and anywhere really the idea that somebody can be like I always use I'll use Jewish as an example because everybody's familiar. If somebody can be Jewish and an atheist, right? And that doesn't mean they're not Jewish anymore. But like to like maybe a European influenced person, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't connect all the way. It doesn't make all the way sense. So but yeah, these are cosmologies. These are Odinani, for example, is just a general idea. There's a general word for like the collective thoughts of Igbo ancestral people, right? So Odinani goes beyond spirituality. There's Odinani as far as working, although I mean there's spirituality and everything, but it goes beyond what we would classify as religion. So there's Odinani in your how you work. There's Odinani in how you exercise, how you sleep, how you eat, all these different things, right? So yeah, it's just all of these things. Cosmologies are different groups, understandings of the cosmos, but because Islam and Christianity are like the dominant thought forms in the world, it gets hard to understand the alternative, even though the alternative is like somehow the majority. So, hope I'm making sense. Uh, Yeah, so somebody said I always thought it was interesting. Is Islam and Christianity spread, but Judaism, the oldest of the three, for the most part, doesn't care. Exactly. And it doesn't make sense. It's like it's a family. It's a family. Igbo is a family. Jewish is a family. Their family. So if I, right now, Ofadarnwa, that's my clan, that's my family. Me going around persuading people to join Ofadarnwa clan. I mean, what does that mean? That's kind of weird, right? But if Ofadarnwa was like a movement, right? Then I'm trying to get everybody in it. I'm trying to get everybody in it, right? Get everybody in it, that kind of thing. So Thunder and lightning deities, spirits are usually seen as arbiters of justice. Exactly. Yeah, 100% correct. Can someone lose their spiritual connection to land, their ancestors? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's an awareness thing. So if you lose awareness, you lose connection. The first thing, the first element of creation is knowledge or awareness, right? And then an understanding, right? An understanding of what you're connected to, an understanding of yourself. From there, the rest takes itself and that kind of thing. Hey, Udochi in there, whoa. Would you move to Igbo land? And if so, under what conditions? I would absolutely move to Igbo land. Everything I'm doing is gearing myself to be able to live in Igbo land. From the fact that I work for myself to the fact that I work remotely and all these different things. I was supposed to go this summer. Plans didn't work out, which is fine, but I need to, every time I go home, I get recharged. So I'm running on low battery right now. I'm running on very low battery until my next opportunity to go. But yeah, I would absolutely live there. I would absolutely live at home. Yeah, I would absolutely live at home. The condition, there doesn't have to be too many conditions either, right? I'm married, right? So with most married men, the conditions are really your wife's conditions. Right? What makes your wife comfortable? What makes my children comfortable? But I myself, man, I don't care. I don't, like, you know, yeah, I don't need too much. I don't need too much. And I've always tried to design my life so that I can go back easily. And I'm getting to that point. Um, but yeah, I don't really need too much as far as conditions, right? I mean, there's nothing that they have here that they don't have in Nigeria, anyways. But there's like, I'm not super in love with like microwaves that to the point where I don't want to see my uncles and grandmother and stuff. Uh, Love creates life. He said, do you know any history on the Igbo people who moved to Belize, also known as British Honduras? I know that there's a lot of them there, and that's really all I know. But I know that there's a large Igbo population in Belize, um, and Belize, Trinidad. There's a couple of them. Usually the British Islands, whenever you see British Islands, it's usually a large Igbo population. Jamaica, that kind of thing. But I don't know anything beyond the fact that they're there. I don't know anything beyond the fact that they're there, that kind of thing. Duty and respect becomes part of your love and those you love. Yeah. Knowledge of Igbo spirituality also made the adherents respect this work and how he or she. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so I totally agree with you. Duty and respect becomes part of your love and those you love. The knowledge of Igbo spirituality also made the adherents respect this work. Yes. And how he or she lives their lives. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As well as accepting people as they are, which like the people that you love as they are. One of the things that embracing Odinani and understanding Odinani and myself has helped me do is I realize that there's something that I'll just say myself, and if anybody can relate, that's fine. But I've gotten away from the practice of grading my relationships, right? So the idea of this is, good parent, good brother, good sister, bad sister, that kind of thing. I've gotten away from the practice of grading my relationships. Um, I'm trying to, anyways, it's all good. But yeah, and that's one of the things that Inani helped me do, is just accept, all that matters is, this, you're my person and I love you, and that's just what's going to happen. That's just what it's going to be. You're going to piss me off and I'm going to piss you off, and we'll work it out, or we won't work it out. But this bond, it doesn't end. It's not over. It doesn't, just because I graded you as a C or a D or whatever. And so once I kind of got myself away from, that grading thing that I kind of, I grew up in, just being American culture. It's been very, very liberating, and it's been just it's been a paradigm shift in the way I relate with the people around me, and I'm very grateful for it, right? That kind of thing. So I'll do my. You're extra soft, buddy. Your father. Hey, Sean, your father. Dumbass. Okay, so Derek, have you ever studied Talmud from Judaism? Talmud. No, no, I don't. Not seriously. I'll have like random periods where it's interesting, and I'll look at different things, but I haven't sat there and like studied Talmud in like a scholarly way. So I'll say no, but I have some familiarity of like big, grand, general ideas as far as what the Talmud is and what it represents and so forth. Ademma. Hey, Duran, there one there. It's been a minute, I think. But if you were in the previous chats and though, but I feel like I'm seeing your name for the first time in a while. Just got back from London. Okay, that explains it. Just got back from London, the British Museum, and after learning so much from you and this channel, looking directly at Ikengas and other Igbo stolen items had me excited and angered at the same time. Yeah, it's something else. Odumma. There's an Ilu that says that an Ofeke is like someone who's unaware, right? So somebody who has no spiritual awareness, right? There's an Ilu that says that when an Ofeke steals the statue of Aghon, they believe they have stolen Aghon, right? So even though they have stolen those things and it's the theft of property and it's the desecration of somebody's culture, and it is what it is, I don't need to explain what it is to you. Um, you just know that it's not the physical object, right? That is the Ikenga. It's not the physical object, that's the Ikenga, Adimma. So, if you don't mind a personal question, uh-oh. When you and your wife got married, did you guys have a traditional Igbo wedding or a Western style one? No, we only did the traditional Igbo wedding. Um, I didn't want to have a Western style one, and she didn't either. We didn't see the points. Colonialism has created a situation where the average Igbo person has three weddings, which is ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. You have a church wedding, and then you have what they call bride price ceremony, which is your actual wedding if you're an Igbo person. By the way, if you guys don't know, the bride price ceremony is the real wedding. That's your actual wedding. Once that's done, you're married. Everything else is a party. And then the Ibankon, which is the traditional wedding. But it's by the time you do Ibankon that you're already married. Because Ibankon is almost just like a party more than it is like a wedding. The actual wedding is the bride price ceremony. So we did a bride price ceremony and we did Ibankun. That's it. Um, for the traditional wedding, we went back to her village. I don't know if I should tell the story. We went back to her village. It was the most stressful wedding on earth, and they'll always stress you out too. It was nice that I have two friends. Funny enough, one of my friend's brothers was on a reality show recently, but that's a whole different thing. But that guy, that friend, and another friend got married, and I want to say a year before me or 2 years before me. And they told me the stories of their wedding. Then, as I'm getting married, the same thing's happening. And so it kind of helps, but it's always chaotic and it's always stressful. But the first thing that happens as far as the wedding goes is your people, like my people, the men in my family led by my father, will go to my wife's community and meet with the men in her community. And they'll have a discussion saying that our son saw your daughter, he's interested in marrying her, so on and so forth. And then they do this thing where it's like, well, if you're going to be marrying my daughter, you're taking away something very valuable from this community. Or they'll say, I have different ways of saying it. They're very just, our culture is very theatrical. You're taking away something very valuable from this community, from my heart, all these dramatic things. And so this is what your son, to show that your son is ready to have such a precious, in his life, he must produce uh, three he goats, seven bottles of they produce this list. Now, I'm from a community called Awam Mama, right? Every Igbo community has a different culture about how they do theirs, but it's the same general thing anyway. And so, but the difference is how serious you take things. So where I'm from, it's like a funny thing, right? It's funny. It's like, oh, you want to take my dog? Okay, you must bring this, and you don't really have to complete it. We don't expect you to complete it. Where she's from, they're notorious for like, not only will you complete it, you will break your damn leg. So there was a misunderstanding in the process that caused a lot of drama and all these things just because they take it very seriously and we don't. And it's just different communities have different culture about it. Though in Igbo, they stereotype people from Imo states as not as being extreme with bride price, but it's specifically from her part of Imo state. Um, my side is close to the Anambra side and that kind of thing. But anyways, yeah. So a whole bunch of stuff happened. But after that ceremony happens, they tell me all the things I need to bring. I bring all the things. I bring things for the women's group. I bring things for the men's group. I bring things for her mother. I bring things for her father, her aunts, all these different things. It's really just to show that you are capable of taking care of their daughter, and it's also to show that you are, my dad says it's a deterrent to keep young people from like just, oh, I'm in love, I gotta get married. It's a deterrent to stop young people from like making rash decisions of marriage. But I got them all their stuff, which I again, I didn't know I was supposed to finish it, but they came later like on the way like, hey bruh, he stole me $300. Like, where I'm from, you don't finish. Okay, I've said this 100 times. Where I'm from, you don't finish the bride price until the wife passes away. If the wife passes away, no matter how old she is, whatever is remaining, your family will give to their family, that kind of thing. But theirs is like, you're gonna finish that shit. So yeah, I finished it. And then we had the Ibankun, which is like if you Google an Igbo wedding, that's what you'll see as Ibankun. We did that like days after, you know. But yeah, so I did my traditional wedding and that kind of thing. Thanks for asking me that. That was I thought it was funny anyways. I was cracking up. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Once met a guy whom I thought was a Barbadian. Turns out he was Igbo. Yeah, I had a bus driver tell he was cussing me out. I don't know why, but I had a bus driver cuss me out in Houston, and he told me that us Haitian Trinidadians think we run everything. And I just busted out laughing. So I've been mistaken as a Trinidadian and a Haitian. And I'm sure if people are familiar with people from Belize, they'll probably mistake me for one too. But yeah, they look Igbo. A lot of people that from the islands in North America look Igbo. Odinani has helped me. Oh, cool. Odinani has helped me not overtly mystify spirituality. Yeah, you say. I think that mystification is almost like a wall that gets put up and blocks people from fully understanding what's going on, right? Um, that wall, it's a wall. It's a wall, and it's good that you're able to see past it and around it and that kind of thing. Adam, meeting you online for the first time, but you've been a great help in no small way. I appreciate it. My name's Ike Chuku Obiako from Nigeria. I hail y'all. Adam, pretty sure Ikenga 3. Okay. Speaking of Ikenga, have you heard of Rene Stout? No, I don't know Rene Stout. She made female Ikenga and art for the Oyibo Gallery. Is it called the Oyibo Galleries, or are you saying Oyibo as a classification? Okay, so she made art for the Oyibo Galleries. I think that's where the questions about female Ikenga staff of power come from. Yeah, I've seen female Ikengas before, just online, not in person. They exist. No, but I don't know who Renee Stout is. I'll if I remember, I'll look her up, but I probably won't remember. A lot of Igbo Biafran ethnic group slaves were shipped to Jamaica. Yes, I'm Jamaican. Yeah, Jamaica. I think the big focus was Igbo and like Ghanaian Ashanti Akan people. What does Odnani say about dream interpretation? A lot. Is there a singular dream language, or does it vary from person to person? So I'm trying to think of a concise way to say this. Maruba fa fa bauchi. Um, when it comes to dreams, those symbols are belong to you. They're personal to you. So everything is an energy or an impulse or a wave. So you're going to feel a certain impulse, right? And your brain has classified that impulse as something, right? And so when that impulse appears in your dream and it's dog to you, it's going to appear as a dog. But then don't be surprised if the dog starts talking like your grandfather, right? Because for some reason the impulses are the same or they're connected, right? Now, Nebo, we understand that this isn't a small thing. This is not a minor thing, right? That everybody is a wave, everybody is an impulse, everybody is an energy, everybody is a vibration, and these vibrations repeat themselves in different parts of nature. That's why some people have, or some families at home have animals that they're connected to, because the energy, the wave, the vibration of that animal is the same as them. And sometimes in dreams they'll appear to you as that animal, right? So your own mind is going to, everybody receives the same waves, the same impulses, but your mind has a language for interpreting those things, right? So that's why when you're interpreting dreams, it's important to know what you're looking at, but most specifically, how you feel about what you're looking at. How you feel about what you're looking at, how you feel about what you're experiencing, the subjective experience that you're having with that thing, right? There's an ilu that says, Mado ba afa ba uche, or afa ba uche, yeah? Which is like if you do afa, if you do divination, the divination does your brain, right? Meaning that afa can say one thing for, it'll say one thing for the both of us, but it means something different to each of us because of what's going on in our own minds and how we have labeled and constructed the world. So the impulses, like the afa, the original messages, like the messages from the afa, the impulses are the same, right? And then you're going to codify it in your dream based off of your reality and that kind of thing. I think the belief scientifically is that, all the faces in your dream are people that you've actually seen, that you don't make up faces in dreams and things like that. And so there's no like universal language to say anytime you see this in a dream, it means that, right? There are some things that, but okay, yeah, there's no to say that because there's a sort of subjectivity to it. But the underlying impulse, the underlying vibration that you're feeling that you are turning into this picture is universal, right? And so a dream interpreter is able to understand that underlying thing that, yes, you saw your grandmother, but that wasn't your grandmother, right? That kind of thing. Now, for a casual everyday person, the best way to understand that is to understand what you're seeing or what you're experiencing and then how you feel about it. That's going to tell you a lot more. I had a dream, one of the dreams that really stood out to me. I think I told the story in one of my videos. My family dog had passed away and came back to me in a dream as an albino alligator, right? And it was just this little albino alligator I was running around, but it felt like him. It felt like the dog's name was Marley. It felt like Marley, and I was like, okay, that's him. That's him running around there. And for look at him, like I understood that if I looked at him, the dream will end. So I just kind of just sat there still and enjoyed my time with him before he left and all that stuff. So yeah, I hope that kind of helps. That was a really good. Yeah, you guys are cooking tonight, man. Damn, I've only got 35 people in here. Derek, would you ever carve your own ikenga or alfal? So I'm gonna get my alfal made at home. There's already a family alfal that I'll eventually inherit, like when I'm an old man. So I'll wait for that one. As far as the ikenga, I'm actually trying to find somebody who I can work with in like making and providing ikengas and things like that. And I found somebody. We're kind of in the end of the discussion of how we're gonna do this. Um, but so far so good. But yeah, I don't see any issue with making your own though, right? The value of the Ikenga is, and the value of the Olfo is it has to feel like what it has to is what it feels like, right? So if the Ikenga you have does not activate your own Ikenga, then it's not an Ikenga. If the Olfo, if you can hold an Olfo and comfortably lie, then it's not an Olfo. One of the things that I say that's controversial, other Odina, let's call them Odinani people would disagree with me, is that for a lot of Christians, their all falls their Bible, because that's the thing that they have a hard time holding and lying, right? That's the thing, that if they swear upon a high, that what they're saying is now in the hands of a higher power, and that's what an all is. That's the function of an all, right? And so it has to have that feeling. It has to have that thing for you. Some of you guys have some family heirlooms that do that for you. Some people can use the earth, and an Ordinary person, Igbo person, can hold sand, and sand is an all. You can do the same thing with sand, right? Anytime you see soil, sand, and you're holding it, if you have it in your hands, you don't lie. I should use my left hand. Hold on. If you have soil or sand in your hands, you shouldn't lie. As far as what Denani goes, because soil is awful. I'm saying it wrong, but soil is awful. So yeah, but there's no problem making your own. I've actually advised a couple of people to make their own, just based off of the conversations we've had. So I have a good friend that uses an action figure for his Ikenga, and it works for him. So I use, as of right now, I'm using. There's a book I have that that when I look at it, I'm ready to go. So that's the one I use as far as the Ikenga. I hope your friend is not the Igbo guy from Love Is Blind. Udochi, it's actually his brother. Yeah. I can't hold this with my left hand. Sorry, but yeah, no, Udochi. It's actually, yeah. That's the yeah. It's his brother. Oh shit! I don't know why they're trying to villainize my boy either. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that brother. I don't know that brother. I know the older brother. He's a phenomenal guy. Great guy. Great family. Good people. Thanks for sharing. I've been interested in know if Garifan people are Igbo as well. I don't know. I don't know who the Garifuna Garifuna. If am I pronouncing it right? Is it Garifuna? I think your name is Think Palace. Garifuna. If it's Garifuna, then yeah, those are probably Igbo people. Garifuna means like go and see, go and see. Garifuna, right? Go and see. Aldemwa. So if that's how, if I'm saying it correctly, then yeah, those are. I'm gonna let you know right now. That's a loudly Igbo word. You need wood from the all tree to make an all. Yes. So probably won't be carving your own all. Yeah, that's a good point. But if that all tree doesn't mean all tree to you, then you understand your will, energy, power, Aldemwa. All right. So all right. Somebody says I'm Igbo. Unbelievable, but I visited Abia State to meet my boyfriend's family in the village. Most beautiful experience I've ever had. Cool. I took them 2 days to watch me and how I blend in with all the family. Yeah. So that's one of the things too. So before you get married, and I don't know, let me see what's the name, Maycar. Um, I don't know if it was the same thing for you, but before you get married, there's a time period where the wife will come and live with the family, and they'll kind of just see like how you are. Really the women are just seeing how you are. Do you do your duties as a woman, as a woman, and so forth. Um, in that particular phase, it's usually a very warm and welcoming experience, but sometimes there's a lot of like there's a lot of I've seen some bullying and that and chastising and all that stuff in that place, but it's kind of just to test your resolve. But for the most part, it's usually a warm experience, and usually a loving experience. By the time you come, it gets to that point, they already know who you are and you're accepted and that kind of thing. So glad you enjoyed it. Not the bus driver cussing you out for looking tree. Yeah. So I moved to Houston. I didn't know. So in Texas, if you ride the bus, they see like people see you as like a crazy person. And I didn't know that. And so it was freezing cold, and they like, like the bus drivers like treat you badly. And so I'm standing outside, and it was freezing cold, and the bus driver pulls up and he just wouldn't open his door, and I'm just like, "Hi, this is unusually hostile." And then he finally opens it. He's like, I was on my break. I'm like, I didn't ask, man. And he's like, hey man, if you're gonna talk back, what did he say? hey man, if you're gonna talk back, you can get off this bus. I'm like, hey man, leave me alone, man. I just sat down. And he's like, tired of you Haitian Trinidadians thinking you know. I was just like, dude, what? But yeah, they treat you like garbage when you ride the bus in Houston, badly, you know. So I had to stop. I just started driving again. A lot of Igbo people got sent to Barbados. Yes. Um, I was accepting Igbo. Oh, great. Yeah, wonderful. Is Ose and Ise related? Logically, I would say yes, but I don't know how. That's a great question. Homie says you sound like Screwface Jean. Screwface Jean's my younger brother. And I feel like whoever's mentioning, whoever's saying this knows that. But yeah, Screwface Jean's my younger brother. I don't know. It was the best experience of my life. Okay, same person. Jamaica too. How do we consult our ancestors to deal with people harassing us? Okay, that's a heavy question. Um, to consult with your ancestors for like protection or to shoo somebody away. Um, one, to have that relationship. So it's not just a matter that you woke up one day and said, "Hey, I need y'all to, fall in line and go chase this person out." Have you maintained communication and maintained respect for them is the first thing, right? And then the second thing, if the answer is yes, then you just tell them, just say, hey, this person's bothering me. This person. Okay, this is the best way to do it. Tell them what you're gonna do, right? This person's bothering me. I don't want them in my life anymore. I want a distance from them. Um, and so forth. And I want you to be with me. And I ask you to be with me as I do this. I ask you to be, it's about you, what you're taking, you're always taking the first step. So this, so and so forth, I need you to be with me as we do this, right? Now I have particular ancestors whose names, who have a bit of they have a little some might to them, right? Just based off of their life story. So you may know a particular ancestor who would be important to talk to in this situation. That might be okay, like he or she is gonna stay the hell away if this one if this one's on their case, But it's just a matter of saying that, hey, I'm creating a distance between me and this person. I need you with me, right? I'm creating a distance between me and this person. I need you with me, that kind of thing. Do not wish ill on that person. Don't go to your altar and ever wish ill on somebody. Don't wish them harm. Don't wish a bad thing happens to them. Don't wish anything that you would not want to happen to you as well, right? Don't wish anything ill, right, that you do not want to happen to you as well. Don't speak anything ill that you do not want to happen to you as well. So, as you're asking for protection, it's not protection in the sense that you want them to be hurt. The closest you can ever come is anybody who is coming to hurt me, let them be hurt first, which is just the law of nature. That's just how it is, right? Anybody who's coming to do this, let the thing happen to them first, right? So, I hope that helped out. If you need more, just if you're on Patreon, just message me, or Instagram or what. In fact, not Instagram. If you're anywhere but Instagram and Patreon, just message me and we can talk further on that. You laugh like Screwface Sean. I feel like homie is Screwface Sean. So, homie, whoever you are, just shout out to you. So would High John of Hoodoo be more like an Abara or an Ikenga? I don't know too much about High John, so I can't answer that question. If you can explain, okay, High John is a root Southern AAs carry for strength, like mystical power. Okay, maybe, but I don't know enough to say that. So Houston's sort of like Detroit when it comes to buses. Yeah, I think any big city, everybody's just ready to abuse somebody. I grew up in Nebraska. Everybody's nice. So if you're riding the bus, it's like, oh, you're riding the bus. It's very eco-friendly, But like in Houston, it's like, oh, you ride the bus. What's wrong with you? I had a guy pull. It was the coolest thing that happened in my life, man. I had this guy pull up. this like big ass SUV, and he roll his windows down a little bit, and he's looking at me. He's like, "You still walking?" I just kept. It's like, what the fuck? It's like some shit. It's like some shit you see in like a rap video from like the 2000s. So he's like, he can tell he goes, "Hey, you still walking?" Haha, and pulls off. And so after that, man, after he stunted on me like that, I had to just start getting back in them vehicles. But I hate drive. I don't like driving at all. I don't like driving. So that kind of thing. I can't deal with the abuse of riding public transportation in a big city because that's you just become a target. No, I'm talking about Uche from Love Is Blind season 5. Yeah, yeah, his brother. Yeah, that's him. His brother his brother and another friend of mine got married before me, and I heard their stories, and it wasn't bad, but like I just knew that it's not a cakewalk. Like they're gonna really, test your ass. And the reason that their stories were important was because they went home. They went home. So a lot of people in Houston just have it there because all your uncles and stuff are already there anyways, and aunts and all that. Udochi says they are related from the same root words. Say, hey, Udochi, hey. Refer to as a say, he says, manifestation concept is deeper than I can explain. Yeah, I'll do my Udochi, well done. Hello, everyone. I do go. Hey, damn. Okay, so there's a message that's held for review. I'm gonna click it. It's probably somebody wilding out, but it looks like you guys are out of questions. If you guys are out of questions, I gotta hop out of here. If the questions run out, I gotta go. Duran said, "Can you further explain the concept of having to do something or take an action before you ask your ancestors to assist you? Most miss that part and leave everything up to them." Oh, yes, yes, yes. Let me check this message here. Okay, we're gonna show this one. Okay, another moderator handled this. Damn, Udochi, you're really on it. Thank you. Um, okay, so Duran says, can you further explain the concept of having to do something or take action before you ask your ancestors to assist you? Yeah, so again, that's one of those things that gets lost in translation because most people's understanding of anything close to spirituality is religion, typically Christian religion. And in Christian religion, you're always asking for stuff, or like not always, but like the idea is you ask for stuff, right? That's one of the perks. You just ask for stuff and like maybe it falls out of the sky and stuff, right? That's not what's going on over here, right? There's no illusion about what reality is. You do not just go to your ancestors and make requests, right? You don't just go to your ancestors and make, I need this, I need that, give me this, give me that. You don't do that. You understand? You are representing your ancestors. And so long as you're representing your ancestors in a way that's worthy of being followed, they will follow you. Okay? They do follow you. You understand? Think of your ancestors as what they are. They're your parents. They're parents. So it's not, if I'm calling my mom and every time I'm calling her, hey, I need $5, I need $10. This girl looks good. I want to holler at her. Help me out. After a while, I'm hurting that relationship. That's not what it's about. You understand, right? But when the people who care for you see you moving in a positive direction, they add more fire to your step. You understand? So you have to, anything you ask your ancestors, you have to make that move first. People don't necessarily ask ancestors for things. They say, I'm going to do this thing. I need you with me. Or I'm going to do this thing, or I'm moving in this direction, or I'm occupying this space, whatever it is. If it's not for me, let me know. Like wise a consultation. You understand? If it is not for me, let me know. I have a decision to make. I want to make this decision on this day. Let me know what you think is correct. Okay? Even though I feel this is the safer decision, I'm going to go in this direction, which is a little more risky. I need you with me. I'm going to take that first step. And so long as you make that move, make the move boldly, knowing that your people are with you. That's what it is. It's not a matter of Like I said earlier, just like, hey, I need 350 for insurance and all that. That's not what it is. Now if you're in a tough situation, right, you can ask for answers, but you have to be actively pursuing I mean, we probably all have that relative that or friend that needs more help than they are willing to put in effort, right? And naturally what happens is after a while their needs you have to start training yourself to just like, okay, this you have to just turn this into noise because you're going to be stuck here. This is just this person's mechanism of survival. They're just that kind of thing, right? But when you see somebody sincerely moving in a direction, that's why like I don't know where everybody lives, but in a lot of different cities in America, if somebody sees you pushing your car in the middle of traffic, they'll people will park their car and come out and start pushing it with you, right? Your ancestors work the same way too, right? Your ancestors work the same way too. If my son or my daughter are pursuing something, if they're trying to do something, if they're trying to learn something, I light up because then I want to help. Oh, yes, there we go. I want to help them do this. But if they were just like constantly, I mean, they're like little babies. So, like, of course, this is how they are. But I'm saying as adults, oh, I need juice. I need snack. I need this. I need that. After a while, it's going to be like, quit bothering me. Right. So, your ancestors are the same. Don't think of your ancestors as these mythical beings that you have and nobody else has and all these things. Your ancestors are your parents who are not alive, right? That's all it is, right? So it's the same relationship. I need your advice. I need your consult. What can you see that I can't see? Let me know. Let me see. From there, they begin answering you, either through dream, either through experience, either through signs. Everybody has their different way of receiving, right? For me, it's usually dreams. If I ask my ancestors something very specific and I really mean it, if I go to sleep within that day or the next day, I will have a dream and the answer will be right there, right? Or I'll wake up. I don't remember the dream, but the answer is as clear as day to me. You understand, right? And that's what it is. It's think of your ancestors like parents because that's specifically what they are. They're not necessarily like um yeah, they're parents. What is the Igbo answer to the meaning of life? Damn. What is thought of suicide? Oh, this is heavy. I'll say unaliving. I think you can't say that word on, yeah, so unaliving. I'll say unaliving anyway. It's always a thought that's Is it always thought that it's Obanje? A lot of times it's thought that to be Obanje, but there's a lot of times where it's not, but it's never seen as natural. It's never seen as natural. It is a high abomination in Igbo culture. The traditionally when people would do that, they were not buried. They weren't buried formally. And that's to say that we don't want the spirit of that thing to return into the community and happen again, right? And again and again and again and again. We recently brought back that tradition in my own community. So at a point, everybody was getting buried, and then the place got kind of chaotic. Place got kind of chaotic, and so they started bringing back our traditional ideas on how we handle those things. And one of the things that we added into like our customary laws, like if somebody, this is gonna sound really rough to an American, but just deal with it. Like if they die from like a drug overdose, it's we consider that like suicide, so that it's the burial is like a suicide burial, um, and so forth. And so because we've never dealt with drugs before, we never had like hard drugs in the community, but as of the past 3 4 years, because people are traveling to these different countries and coming back, some of them are coming back with like drugs. If those of you know, you guys call it burumiri all over Igbo land. We call it guzero. So guzero, people will come with guzero and all these different things. We had made the decision to have a quiet, like that kind of thing. They don't do burials. The elders made that decision. So suicide or unaliving is like a big. It's not something that we encourage. I can't say it's not something we do because people do it. Um, It's a huge abomination, and you can't return that body back to Anna, back to the earth, because it's against her laws. It's not a human law that's violating. It's the law of the earth. So we don't do that. But of course, it's an extremely difficult subject. I'm not super qualified to talk about it, because I feel that I'm not knowledgeable enough to have the grace to have that conversation, like to have the conversation gracefully. But I can just tell you from like a cultural aspect, it's not, or spiritual aspect, it's, you know, it's not, it's a very, very, very high, what they consider our abomination in Igbo culture. Meaning of life, that's super hard to, that's difficult to, answer. But the most simple thing I can say is it doesn't have to have a meaning, right? Life doesn't have to have a meaning, right? The next thing beyond that is everybody's chi. Everybody has their own creator, as far as the will understand. Everybody has their own chi. And the meaning, right? Life itself may not have its own meaning, just like water doesn't have meaning. Sky doesn't have its own meaning, right? They're just existences. You understand? But everybody's chi has a meaning for them. Your chi created you for its own specific purpose. Your creator brought you into the world for a very specific purpose, and it is your purpose alone. It is your meaning alone. It is your actuality alone. It's not something that I can answer and it'll be true for absolutely everybody, right? Udinani, the journey, Ijeowa, the journey of the world is learning what that purpose is, learning what that meaning is, and then walking into it, right? And when I say learning, I should actually say remembering, because you're born knowing it. You know, it's the most natural thing to you. That meaning is the most natural and the most true thing to you. Sometimes, as life goes, we drift further and further from it, so that it becomes something that feels alien. But once you realize it is the most natural thing to you, it is your truth and your actuality, it's actually something that you know very intimately. Like, you know the meaning of your life, you know the purpose of your life. You understand? You have to just trust yourself and trust your truth and walk in it. And that's your purpose, that's your meaning. But it's specific to you. Nobody else has it. So I can't tell you what your meaning is. You can't tell me, and so on and so forth. Somebody asked earlier about like the idea of like why like African spirituality doesn't have like a spreading nature. Like, like people don't evangelize. I mean, people are starting now, but people don't evangelize it or try to spread it to other people. In the end of the day, my understanding of the chi is mine, right? I can tell you mine. If I throw five facts at you, maybe three of them are going to resonate with you, and you're going to drop the other two. Well, the truth is, you already know the one that is yours. And I'm not telling you something new, I'm reminding you of something you already have within you. And the reason you kept those three and dropped the other two is those three register with what's within already, right? So after a while, you don't need to listen to me, right? Which is the craziest thing somebody with a YouTube channel will ever tell you. After a while, you don't need to listen. You just come here and hang out, right? Because you come to find that the answers are already, you have it within. You already know. You already know. Okay. Everybody's Odinani will be different. Everybody's approach will be different. I can give you the starter pack, but after a while, once you figure out what's going on, it's yours. Ademma. I always found it hard to reconcile our traditional belief with suicide or unaliving. I can't, oh boy. How do you think about it? I'm very traditional as far as that goes, right? I'm very traditional as far as that goes, so it's not like a hard reconciliation for me. Yeah, it's not a hard reconciliation for me. The traditional understanding makes sense, makes absolute sense to me. So, uh, would esse the world esse Ewe language is used in Voodoo. Do you think it could be related? Yeah, it's just yeah, yeah. So esse, if it's like ise, if they say it like that, I think Yoruba people say ase. It's all the same. Yeah, it's the same. If it's used in the same context, then yeah. Esse is also Yoruba. Yeah, it's if it's used in that context, then yeah, it's the same. Somebody asked earlier, do Igbo people think they're related to other, yeah, most of us it's obvious. Most of us it's very obvious that we're related to our immediate neighbors, but most Igbo people see themselves as more related to the people on the eastern side of the Niger River than the west. Maybe the divergence, like the separation, was more recent. If you can call it a separation, if you some of these like, some of these, I don't know, man. Leave that alone. I didn't. Speaking of drugs, just learned via Burner Boy that apparently Igbo means weed too. Okay, uh, Igbo. Okay, so West African languages are tonal. So Igbo is a Yoruba word for forest, right? Igbo is not the same as Igbo, right? So even for me, it's hard to make that inflection difference. So I'm not the person to ask about this. But Igbo is the Yoruba word for like forest, foliage, bush, that kind of thing. And Igbo then becomes weed because it's like saying smoking grass or smoking leaves, smoking herbs, that kind of thing. But it's a Yoruba word. We don't say Igbo what's the word for Igbo in Igbo? What's the word for weed in Igbo? I only hear people saying goof. And somebody's smoking goof. I've only heard people accuse people of smoking goof. I don't know if I know the word for Igbo for weed in Igbo, but Igbo is Yoruba. It's a Yoruba word, so it's not the same word. It's just because West African languages are tonal and it's different tones. Yeah, pronunciation between Igbo Igbo. Okay, cool. Igbo weed, Igbo Igbo. Cool. What's the cliff notes of guessing which market day you think someone is? Oh, it's such a good question. Cliff notes. It's very easy for me to tell who's Uriye. Uriye people are like Andre 3000, Lil Wayne. Trying to think of some other people that kind of fall in that category. Um, just kind of out there, different. Probably like, most of y'all. Damn near all of y'all. So Oriya people are kind of usually like out there, very peaceful. It's easy for me to see them because so many of them have approached me to talk, and then they start saying things. I'm like, oh wow, this is real. Yeah, that kind of thing. Afro people are more traditional, more like kind of reality oriented. Uh, Nkwa people have like a heroic thing to them. They have like a heroic thing to them. They strong belief in justice, all these different things. And then Eke people have a very strong presence, power, leadership kind of thing. But again, not all, this is just like fun stuff, it's not like set in stone. Um, and yeah, I couldn't tell you which market day or which day I was born, because if somebody is a computer programmer, I'll work with you for free to design one that can tell people because there's things you have to factor. But once we get that down, I'll figure out. Oh, I don't think the ones that are out are 100% accurate, but I'm not sure. But yeah, those are the stereotypes for the different market days. Weed is Ahiya. Okay, thank you for that. Weed is Ahiya, which is the same thing, grass, or kind of thing. Yeah, Adama. Yeah, Afifia. We're in that Afifia. Yeah, Afifia, same thing, grass, foliage, that kind of thing. Is the last name Udenze? Yeah, the last name Udenze is very Igbo. Yes. I think you guys are out of question, though. I think we're all out of questions, guys. I'm going to give it I'm gonna do a countdown from 5. No, wait, let me do Utsu. I'll count 2 5. I can't wait. That's my cousin's last name. I was wondering. LOL. Thank you. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. Igbo last name. Is there a deification in Igbo cultures like Shango in Yoruba religion? Yeah. Is there deification in yeah, so like if yeah, so Shango is an Orisha. The equivalents in Igbo, we call them Abara. Abara. I'm saying that wrong. It's Abara, actually. It's Abara. So they're but I'm gonna say Abara. So we call them Abara. And yeah, that's really it. Abara, some people just call it more. So yeah, there's the same thing. It's the same concept, same culture. I think it's more emphasized in the Yoruba tradition, whereas the Igbo tradition emphasizes more of your personal chi than anything. I don't know. Have you done a video on the concept of Odinala, Eye of Chuku? Have I done the concept of Odin? All of my videos are on the concept of Odinala. Every video I've ever made is on the concept of Odinala. Now, some are a little more. No, I can't even say that. All of them. Yeah, all of them. This is an Odinala channel. I say Odinani though, just because I say Allah like a law. Because I have a Igbo tongue, so I'm trying to work on that. But until I get there, I'll say Odinani. It's easier for me, Odinani. But yeah, every one of my, but it's Ayo, Anya Chuku. Are you talking about Anyanwu? If you're talking about Anyanwu, no, I've never done a video. So what happens is when under my videos, if somebody comments, can you make a video about this? Can you make a video about that? I go and collect all of the comments and I put it up for vote on Patreon. And Anyanwu is always requested, but Anyanwu never wins. So, so I've not made a video on Eye of Chuku yet, but I know it's coming soon anyway. I haven't even done that. Chuku doesn't win the votes either. Though. I haven't done a video on Chuku. My next video is going to be on Ogwu. After Ogwu, I'm doing one on Nsi. To update you guys, those who are keeping track, which I mean, yeah, the audio is stuck on a computer and I can't get it off. And I've been struggling with it for the past 4 days. I even went to Best Buy, but it'll be off of there when the time is right, and then it'll be released when the time is right. So we will see why it's taking so long to come out or so to get off. Do you know anything about traditional Igbo architecture? Nothing too intimate. I do have, if you're a patron, message me, and I think I have some documents on traditional architecture. I think. I know I don't have a folder, but I think I have some documents. But yeah, no, there's some interesting things there. There's also a really good breakdown in of some simple concepts in After God is Debia, which 1 and 2. I don't know which one, but one of them has like because it's all based off of like numerology. Another thing about Igbo architecture, like I'll call it more city planning, is things are built in accordance to what the land says should be built there. So, for example, markets, you don't just set up a market wherever. The land will tell you where the market is. That this one is Uriah Market. This one is Afo Market. This patch of land here is Nkwo Market. So the market already exists before you put it there. The whatever the buildings you want to build, they already exist before you put them there. You have to do what's called in I'm gonna say this right. Itwala to figure out what each parcel of land is telling you that it should be or that it is. So when you're building in accordance to nature. It's funny too because a lot of the Europeans that came during like the age of exploration, they consistently would say that African dwellings and cities are set up in some type of mathematical. There's a mathematics that they themselves don't understand, but there's an odd consistency to what's going on, right? And that kind of thing. So, but we ask the land if we ask the land and the land tells us. I'll vote Chuku if I see it in one of those polls. Cool. So the polls are on Patreon. I hope you're talking about because sometimes I'll do like little polls on like YouTube itself. Talking about the ones on Patreon. That's where the voting happens. Adema. Can Igbo be cremated? It's best to be buried. It's best to be buried. It's to return to the earth. We don't do cremation. Amadioha and Allah live in the house of Afo. Yes, Market Day, absolutely. Which Abara lives in Eke, Urie, and Nkwo. Thank you so much for that question. So Nkwo, Arobinago, and Ekwensu, um, Urie, Nemiri, Agumiri, anything, all the different Miri, all them, that kind of, oh, Hanine is Urie. Eke, Chineke, Anyanwu, I'm trying to think of what else is in Eke. Anyanwu, Chineke, I think that's about it. Anyanwu na Baraya. So the sun, light. Eke is also where the two nodes of Afo, Ako, and Obi, where they live. So anything light, anything binary, that kind of thing is all that can. Or the ma. Somebody is saying something in the Arabic language, I think. I'm sure it's okay. All right, cool. I remember reading somewhere that African villages actually look like fractals from an aerial view. Yeah, yeah. I've seen, and you'll see some too, where like they'll get those aerial views and you'll just like, oh, there's a pattern going on here. And that kind of thing. But yeah, you ask the land tells you, and you come to find that there's already a prearranged pattern of the way things should be. Is there a study group tomorrow? There absolutely is a study group tomorrow. I still haven't thought of a topic though, but the topics of not even unfortunately, the topics have been coming to me like day of or night before lately. So we'll see where we're going with this one. Do we both celebrate Eke Day? Yes, Eke Day is a day of rest. So the only thing that's open on Eke Day is the Eke market. You don't go to the farm. You don't. There's a lot of things you don't do. You don't say things like you don't say things you don't mean on that day. You don't fight. Um, if you're fighting, you try to reconcile before Eke Day. You don't. I'm trying to think of some other things as far as Eke do. It's a day of rest. So if you want something similar, think of like the Jewish Sabbath, and that kind of thing. So it's Eke Day, day of rest. And then what there was something else about Eke Day. I myself, I rest on Eke Day. I haven't for the past 2 weeks, which is probably why I'm completely out of whack. But for usually for the past 2 weeks, I rest on Eke Day. I don't do anything unless it's like something I'm already obligated to, like if I have a study group or we have like get do class or something like that. I'll do it, but I'll be very minimal. I'll be very minimal on those days, and it's phenomenal for your mental health too. I advise everybody to rest on Eke Day or to take Eke Day as a day of rest and a day of reflection, and that kind of thing. You don't do weddings on Eke Day. You don't do anything super important on Eke Day. You don't do weddings. There's an Ilu. This old man I met in San Antonio was telling me that his people, he's from Umahia, and they say that you don't a man you can't nobody dies on Eke Day was the quote that I put it in one of my videos in the market day video. Nobody dies on Eke Day, so it's seen as a bad thing, or not a bad thing. It's not something the family's proud of if you die on an Eke Day, and so if somebody dies on Eke, they wait for the next day to announce it. So it's a very 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 sacred day. I don't know. Oh, talking about the book you just posted. Yeah, Duran. I think I'm gonna pick a topic from there and we'll just go in. Yeah, good idea. Thank you for that. Good idea. I study traditional architectural styles within Africa. Uda. I don't know much about Igbo architecture, but I can tell that some Igbo buildings have, I don't even know that word, impuviums, funnel roofs for water. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's not something I'm super well versed in. But that's cool that you study that. There's a lot of really interesting architecture in Africa. I feel like like a lot of creative stuff there. My market day is over here. I'm not surprised, but I'll do my heartbreaking relationship and on my market day. Oh, there you go. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It was supposed to. Uh, what happened was supposed to happen. Let me put it that way. Did I attract this or the higher intelligence or anything else? I can't say too much. I don't know the details of the relationship, but your market day, that means you're spiritually, your market is open. Spiritually, you're open. You're very open on that day. So some of you guys kind of just know what day too, right? If you start paying attention to the 4 day calendar, you start noticing some things. You really start noticing some things, right? Um, you just, like, I know who and how I am on each day. I know what mood I'm gonna be on each day. Things kind of start. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? Things start making sense. Um, some personal things too, but you start noticing. Start noticing there's better days to do things than other days. Let me say it that way. Adumma, adumma. Thank you, CJD. Thank you for sharing. All right, y'all. Looks like you guys are all out of questions. So Aniaya says, my day is okay. I'll do my. Okay, guys, kam hapo kwa ono. We have an Odinani group study on Patreon tomorrow morning. So if you are a patron and you haven't been to any of the group studies, I would really like to see some new faces. Shout out to the veterans that are always there that I could always count on to be there in this community that we've built. But we have a group study tomorrow. Duran had the good idea to do something based off of a book called Towards an Igbo Metaphysics, which is one of the books in the group study, or not the group study, in the library, in the Odinani. Let's see, it's time to go. In the library that I make available to my patrons. So, as I always say, um, if you're interested in being a part of that group study, and the group study, it's just, I'll bring a topic and we all just kind of discuss and share experiences and that kind of thing. It's one of my favorite parts of the month. So it'd be nice to have you guys there tomorrow morning. It's 10 Central time. If you're already a patron, the link will appear on Patreon. If you are not a patron, go ahead and join. Um, and then, of course, patrons have access to my full library, hundreds of books on Odinani, Igbo culture, spirituality, cosmology. I even have things from different ancestral diasporic traditions, Santeria, Hoodoo, Ife, or Ifa, all those different things. They're all in there. Organized by folder. So whatever topic you're interested in, there's usually a folder that's specifically that, and you can go in there and Sibidi, anything like that. And then we're gonna start registering everybody for Kedu. For the next round of classes for Kedu. I have a lot of announcements to make, and there's this thing that I gotta work on. But if I've already told myself there's gonna be a sequence of things, I get stuck on that. So I want to release my damn video first, and then there's some things I gotta coming up. Um, and that being, just stay tuned. Wait, one last question. Where can I buy cola? Duran, I'm looking too. Any African store will have it, or just about any African store. If you are in that, now, Atlanta? I don't. Why do I assume? We'll leave that alone. If you're any African store will have cola. Otherwise, there's suppliers on Amazon that have it. Um, and try to get the cola that is the four lobe cola rather than the two. But the two is fine if that's what you have. It's not that deep, but the traditional one is with like the one that breaks in fours. Some of them are like, even though it's supposed to break in fours, it might be like in three or in two or whatever. But there's one like genus that only breaks in two. That's Goro. You can get that too. It's fine, but just the Igbo one is the one that breaks in fours. Anyways, that being said, wait, how can I invite my grandpa? Damn. How can I invite my grandpa back as my firstborn son? You go to your altar and just say it. Um, well, let me pause before I give a recommendation on that. Your relations will come back as who they'll come back as. So you don't tell them who to come back as. They just do. Okay? They just do. It's not something that your grandpa can help. Um, so scratch what I said earlier about going to the altar. Just they just come as they come. I mean, I don't know if you've already had the child. Um, but if you haven't had the child already, they'll come as who they come. And as a mother, typically you'll know. I think typically you'll know. This is controversial. Some people will disagree with me. Typically you'll know, but otherwise you can get afa done divination, and then they'll let you know who they came back as. But it's not for us to decide. It just happens as it happens. Yeah. So Derek, read CJ's question. Okay, hold on. Was that the question I was supposed to read? What is the spiritual aspect over technology? Hey, you guys have to save these questions for the next one. Man, found who I'll marry. She's a beautiful one. He said, "Power to." Hey, I got you guys. I don't know why you guys just started going hard these last few seconds. So, kama hapo kwa ono. Uno gadi, uno geto. Kabla nuti aka gadi no wa. Gadi utwana ke no rie. Now for now. He said, "Take care, guys."